focus tonight, of course, the increasingly volatile situation in Egypt and the changes we're seeing in that government. I'm Don Lemon.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm John Voss from CNN International, and we have a big hour ahead.
We certainly do. Anti-Mubarak protests in Egypt have now spread to the U.S. and other countries, and we're going to show you all of that. Listen to this. Impassioned Egyptian Americans gathered in Washington today calling for the removal of Egypt's president. They rallied first at the Egyptian embassy and then marched to the White House. Now, inside the White House, President Barack Obama huddled with his national security team to discuss the crisis in Egypt. There's a lot at stake for the U.S. because Egypt has been one of America's biggest Arab allies in the Middle East.
Similar protest videos and eye reports from all over, including Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Switzerland, and Canada. You will see and hear from the people in those places throughout our coverage tonight.
And John, in Egypt, it is now midnight, but it's been a long and volatile day of demonstrators calling for the removal of President Mubarak. Police have largely left the streets now, but they've been replaced by Egyptian military.
Social order and security have collapsed across Egypt's largest cities. Dozens of people have died. Looting and lawlessness are rampant. Without police, many shopkeepers are arming themselves to protect their stores from looters, the same for those who live in their homes. The ancient port city of Alexandria is also in the crosshairs. CNN senior international correspondent Nick Robertson has been in the thick of it all day. He joins us now. Nick, there's a curfew in place. Are there still protesters out there? What's the situation?
It's a very different situation to last night, John, where you still had a lot of people on the streets and a lot of traffic at this time of night. Curfew's been in place 8 hours, and I would say for the last 2 or 3 hours, the streets have been very, very quiet. You see just maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people walking around, the odd car going along. What's different about those people walking through the streets when you see them now? If you see a group of 2 or 3 men, or even an individual man that I saw walking along there just now, they'll be carrying a stick. A lot of people are carrying sticks with them now because there are no police, and they're afraid about their own security out here on the streets. Huge protests through the day, but now it's very, very quiet. Looking behind me along the Corniche, which was just jammed with protesters marching up and down there earlier on, John.
Nick, it seems that something has essentially changed over the last few hours. When you were out on the streets earlier today, it seemed all very friendly, the people were chanting. But as night has fallen, these looters have come out on the streets. It has become a very dangerous situation. How would you assess it going forward? What will we see in the next couple of hours as daylight comes up?
You know, it's very hard to tell. And just as you're speaking to me there, I heard 3 shots go off in the distance behind me down there. And I can hear men shouting, and I can hear things tumbling to the ground. What's going to frustrate the crowds here is that they want President Mubarak to step down. But how do they do it? They march up and down the streets. They've heard from him on television. What about what they're doing today is actually going to bring him down? He's already proposing people to fill senior leadership positions who the people on the streets here say are part of the problem. So you can see that the frustration on the streets here will grow. The potential for the handful of soldiers who are out here essentially providing security around some government buildings, the potential to come into conflict with them if the crowd decides to storm a presidential palace here or go into some government building. The soldiers are going to have to choose. Do they shoot? Or do they not? And at the moment, the soldiers seem relaxed and not prepared to take the crowds on. But I talked to one former general here today who told me that the army had a plan. This was the plan that he understood when he was a general in the army here, and that is that the army is to protect the president and not the people, and that's the choice they might make. So although that doesn't seem immediately apparent today, I think we're going to see the frustrations grow, and people to us are vowing that they will come out every day and continue this protest, John.
Yeah, of course, tomorrow, Sunday, the start of the working week in Egypt, that will be crucial because we've seen these protests grow over the last couple of days in size, but whether or not they continue to grow when people have got to go back to work, when schools are reopened, and whether this momentum continues, possibly in all of this, Hosin Mubarak is gambling that these people will simply give up, that they will all ultimately, this may end peacefully, they'll go back to their homes and life can continue on as it has. Is that a possibility there?
It doesn't seem like a possibility at the moment. Just where I was hearing those shots back over my shoulder over here just a few minutes ago as we were talking, I can now hear somebody speaking on a megaphone on a loud hailer. Clearly, it seems addressing the people in that area. Not quite sure. I can't really hear what's being said, so I'm not quite sure what they're being told. But I think that what the people have tasted here is the sense that they have a voice and that they can have an impact. And they believe that if they continue with that, then they're going to achieve what they want. Will they go back home and settle for less? That's not what they're saying right now. More than 31 people have died in this city already. People are very angry, very frustrated, and it doesn't seem that that can easily, if you will, be put back in the box. Having said that, some people have told us they are very worried about what's going to happen to security. Neighborhood watches are in force here. Shops are boarded up. People are worried now without the police. There's a vacuum of security. There's no law and order. So that's going to guide some people. But as you see in these demonstrations, it's the loud, angry voices that come out and want to stay out. Some of them, you can tell, are spoiling for a fight. We've seen today more presence of the Muslim Brotherhood here providing control on these demonstrations. They lack leadership so far, and that means they may diffuse, as you suggest. But if they find leadership, that will give them focus and purpose, John.
Nick, thank you.